What's going on, guys? It's Mr. DEBT Joe Lorick from the Money Etiquette Group, and I have to talk to you about the stock market and what's happened over the last 48 hours. We have had a historical moment, a historical few days where things have been revealed that have never been revealed before. I don't usually do videos like this, but I have to. I talk about stocks, I talk about financial literacy, and I want you to truly understand and learn and take from what's happened over the last 48 hours when it comes to GameStop, when it comes to AMC, when it comes to Robinhood and different trading apps and people being shut down and shut out of being able to purchase stocks and people being shut out of wealth. This was historic, and I'm here to talk about it. All right, so let me really quickly get into some background information, and I'm gonna get right to it about what's happened over the last few days. I'm a person that speaks about finances. I speak about financial literacy. I speak about the economy, everything, not just stocks, not just IPOs, not just cryptocurrency, but also just finances altogether. And I said something back in December in relation to AMC, which became very relevant over the last 24 to 48 hours. I told people that while AMC was $2, and in fact, before it, I said it when it was $1.90 plus. I said, listen, this is a good time where you might want to buy some AMC stock because I believe they're going to survive the pandemic. They'll be able to pay their debts. They're not a long-term investment, but they should get back to their pre-pandemic price of around $7 to $8 per share. That's what I was saying. This was my opinion. It was educational stuff. I'm not advising anyone professionally. It was just my opinion on the stock.
That boy good.
After I shared that information, people went and purchased the stock. They researched for themselves and they made a decision. So they got in about $1.90 and $2 per share. Fast forward to the last couple days, okay? We're in late January, and AMC puts out news that they're paying off, or at least they're extending some of their debt. So they got the money that they needed to cover their debt for 2021 so that they can operate in 2021, despite the fact that we're still in the midst of a pandemic. That drove the price up and went up to about $4, maybe $5. So people who invested at $2 made money. They more than doubled their money. But something else was happening that I wasn't aware of, which was a war was brewing between a group of traders and another group of institutional traders. Okay, the one group that I'm speaking about was a Reddit group, which is a very large group that decided that, you know what, we are going to squeeze shorters. And the other group are institutional shorters who essentially what they would do is they're betting against a stock. What they do is they work with a company. They decide that, look, we'll buy your stock at today's price and we'll sell it back to you at a certain date. But they're counting on that stock price going down because they get to keep the difference. So essentially, if they purchase the stock at $100, it's worth $100 a share. And they say in 2 weeks, we're going to pay that back. And in 2 weeks, the value of that stock drops to $60. Well, they get to keep the 40 and then sell it back at 60. So they've essentially made $40 per stock. And you do that by the thousands and you can make millions of dollars. I mean, you're making a lot of money. So this one group said, we're tired of that. We don't like you squeezing or shorting stocks and shorting companies and keeping certain stocks low. It's manipulated what you're doing. You're manipulating the price. And we're going to counteract that by coming together and purchasing stock at a higher price and making sure that it continually goes up, which means you can't pump and dump. You can't sell it as soon as you have to hold it for a certain amount of time. You can't sell it as soon as you get it. And you buy options on it. You make sure that the options are making sure it goes in the right direction. You do all of this. Now, I'm not here to say, because I have no information to say if the group came together and did it all together in one piece. I don't know. I'm not a part of that group. I'm not a part of any group that participates in that. But I did recognize it. And myself and the people who are around me, the people that I speak with, that I talked to about AMC back in December and back in 2020, they were like, wow, the stock has gone up way more than expected. We bought in at $2, so this is good for us. And I agreed it is good for them. So fast forward, you also have another stock, GameStop. Their stock is skyrocketing. It's going through the same thing, except they didn't just get picked up. This has been going on for several weeks, where GameStop went from, let's just say, a $4 stock to $200, $300 stock, a $400 stock eventually, which means a lot of people, a lot of average people, a lot of normal people made life-changing money. Some people didn't. Some people made a few hundred, but you had thousands of people that made thousands of dollars. Some made tens of thousands of dollars on paper. They also did the same through AMC. Over the last 48 hours, AMC stock went from $4 to $8 to $10 to $11, all the way up to $20. And then that also happened with a few other stocks that were chosen as targets to squeeze shorters out of the market. And shorters lose money because obviously here it is, okay, if you have 2 weeks to sell the stock back and we keep the price up, you have to still sell it back at that higher price, which means you took a loss, which means you gave up a lot of money. And shorters were, let's just say, losing billions over this time frame.
This too shall pass, my child.
And then the SEC decided to step in. And this is where things got really interesting because the SEC chose a side. They said the average guy, the government said the average guy, the average person, the average lady, whatever you are, the average person does not have the right to, let's say, manipulate the market like the shorters do as a group. Yeah. This institutional group can do it, you can. This group can make money, you can. And that reminded me of a movie that I watched, In Time with Justin Timberlake, where the premise of the show is, just to be quick, or the premise of the movie is, everyone gets to live up to the age of 25 for the rest of their lives, unless their time on their arm runs out. Your biological clock runs out, meaning everyone ages to 25. And then after that, you can stay that way physically. You can stay 25 and technically you can live forever as long as you have this time attached to your body, meaning your internal clock, as long as it lasts, as long as it keeps going, you can live as long as that clock keeps moving. Some people had thousands of years. Some people had hundreds of years, but the majority of people would only have enough time on their arm to live day by day. This is essentially poor people. Fast forward to today in the real world, you have a lot more people that, of course, don't have money, they don't have wealth, and they live day to day. If they don't work, similar to the people in the movie, if you don't work every day, you can't get more time. If you don't work, if you're not at the bottom of the totem pole, if you're not at the bottom of the food chain doing the work, you can't live. And essentially today, it's the same way. If you're at the bottom of the food chain, if you don't work, if you're not productive to a certain point, you mess up the system. And you have, let's just say, organizations in place to make sure that system operates effectively. Hence what we just saw. If too many people in that movie got too much time at the lower level, it breaks the system. If too many people make too much money, too many average people make too much money too quickly in a short period of time, it breaks the system. And the regulators step in. That's what we witnessed real time. That's the exposure that took place. A lot of people didn't know this is something that is real, but we just saw it real time. We just saw it. So this was a perfect time to learn and truly understand what the stock market, what the economy is, how things can be manipulated one way or the other. The government was forced to make a choice between institutional investors, meaning big groups that short, that have lobbyists, that have backers, and the regular people. At a time when people need the most help, regular people, at a time when stimulus checks are going out, people were making their own stimulus checks. People were creating their own wealth through the market, and then they were cut off from doing so. We woke up today, this morning, and everyone was cut off from being able to buy certain stocks that were making money. We literally watched GameStop, Express, AMC, so many, and about 4 or 5 other stocks on popular trading platforms, Robinhood, Ameritrade, E-Trade, all these platforms disabled regular users from having the ability to purchase those stocks this morning. And that doesn't just happen because internally they say they want to protect customers, people from volatility. That was the excuse. But volatility happens in the market on a daily basis. We see that on IPO days. I see it all the time. There's tons of volatility. I saw it the day that Beyond Meats came out. went up 200%, 300% over the next week, 400%, going up crazy. But that was allowed volatility. That was volatility with a pass. When it happens because of smart moves on the part of regular consumers, then all of a sudden it's a problem. And I'm not mad, I'm not upset. I'm a person that saw this coming. And again, when I invested in AMC, I bought it at $2. So I don't care that it went up to 20 and now it's down to 8. It's way more than what I put into the market. I'm cool. The people that were around me, they're cool. So I don't want you to think this is coming off as me being angry. In fact, I'm more invested in the cryptocurrency market because of things like this. Because again, when I say in my previous videos about cryptocurrency, that this is a market that's more of a free market that can't be manipulated as much, even though there is some level of manipulation, you wouldn't have what happened today in the stock market happen in the crypto market. But again, guys, if you haven't opened your eyes, if you haven't watched what's happening, understand this is so historic that there will be movies made about what just happened. You know how you have The Big Short and movies about what happened in 2008, 2009? There will be movies about what happened in 2021 in reference to these few days. I participated in it, so I'm going to go back and watch and see how accurate it was if they portray it from the regular person's point of view. They probably won't. But this was history, and it's not even over. Because what could happen, that same group could choose another stock, and they can keep doing it. This could be a cat and mouse game for some time, but what I will say is this. In that group that's trying to, let's say, fight the market, you have people that work for the ops. You have people that work for the government. You have people that are not in your favor in these groups. So nothing you do will be secretive. Nothing you do will be hidden. It's going to be known, and you have to be okay with operating in that mode. And then the other part of it is, of course, if you're not comfortable operating in that mode, hey, go to crypto, which some people have done. They've moved to Dogecoin and started pumping that up. You know, that's cool. You can do all that. I'm a little bit different when it comes to crypto. But again, guys, this was interesting. Were you a part of this? Were you impacted by this? How do you feel? I want to know in the comment section. Tell me, how do you feel? Do you feel like you now fully believe that we're not allowed on a large scale as regular people to make a lot of money too quickly because it breaks the system, because of inflation? Do you believe that because of what happened, people being cut off from the ability to invest in stock freely, that this entire market is manipulated and that this entire ecosystem that we live in, the entire economy, is manipulated? Some people can get through the cracks. They can do certain things. I'm not saying people can't make money. I'm not saying people can't attain wealth, but not in great numbers. It was happening in real time. And some people made out. Some people pulled their money out at the right time. Some people will go back in and do it again. But I want to know from you, what will you do? What was your role in this movie? Did you participate? Were you on the sidelines? Did you watch it? Are you a critic? Tell me what you think, because you've been a part of history over the last 48 hours, and maybe you don't realize it. In January of 2021, you've been a part of a historical moment that people will talk about for decades. And I want to know what part you played, if any. Let me know in the comment section. I appreciate your support. Subscribe and like the channel. Share. Let's have this discussion as big as it can be, as widespread as it can be. Make sure you share. Get more people involved. Tag them. Get them to talk about it. I want to hear from them. I want to hear from your favorite trader. I want to hear from your favorite crypto person. I want to hear from your financial experts. I want to hear from you. Tell me what you think about this. Let's get the discussion going, and let's keep it going, because we're not going to forget this important time in history.